Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with a brand new film on Netflix. We are going to review The Killer. Again, this is on Netflix.
Mhm.
And thus far, IMDb gave it a 7.0 with over 40,000 reviews and only a 7.0, man. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
that's low balling. It should be way higher. But you know, it's
Someone is,
interesting.
yeah, what?
It was number one on Netflix,
Yeah,
like this entire weekend.
it was. They had
So
a pretty
that
star-studded cast too. Um,
yeah,
But a
it was a good cat.
7.0, man, come
I
on, dude. That's
that is
like,
false.
no, man. This is like, okay, this film surprised me. First of all, it was almost 2 hours long.
Mhm.
But again, if a film is really good, I don't care about the time. Remember,
Yeah, you
Triple
don't
R was
care.
like almost 3 hours long, and that was a fun
Yeah,
movie to watch. So I really
yeah.
enjoyed
It's
this movie. What
engrossing.
about you?
Yeah, I loved it. I didn't notice the time at all. I watched it 2 times this weekend,
Wow.
and I just powered through. I was like, oh, this is great. Because the thing is, though, basically, you're following along with his process and everything he's going through. And the thing I liked about it was fairly realistic. Like it was stuff that he was doing, a regular person can do. Like he's not jumping through buildings and doing
Right.
all this madness. Like it's
Mhm.
regular stuff, regular person could do. But like his life is just that's a rough life, man. Being a hitman, you gotta be like some kind of sociopath, whatever what is the term? There's something like you gotta remove yourself from humanity to
Yeah.
be hitman. And I don't know if we go to spoilers, but like he changes his life based on the botched thing on well, after his botched hit, he kind of changes his life and he brings himself back to humanity. And this thing's based on a comic book. There's like a graphic novel.
No
I think
way,
it's
really?
French. Yeah. It's like a French graphic novel thing that's based on. And like
Wow.
I would
Okay.
love to see more. Make this
Well,
guy a series. Like, let's go.
Well, you know what? I kind of feel, right, that this isn't
Mhm.
the end because remember, he didn't kill the client.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling that now that everyone else is gone, right? Everyone
Mhm.
else is gone. The client's going to come to him and say, listen, I have a job here, man. I don't know anyone else,
I would be down to watch that.
you know?
This was dope. I love the other thing I loved is the names he was using for his aliases.
Oh my
They're
goodness,
all like sitcom names or something from TV show.
he used George Jefferson. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Yeah, Felix Unger. I was like, wait a minute, I know that. I know what that is.
That was pretty fascinating, man. Again, this is wait a minute, you know what? That could
Mhm.
not have been in the comic books though, right? In the French comic book where he
I
was
don't
using
know.
all these
I don't
character
know anything
names and
about it. I
whatnot.
just saw I was reading something about it and it said that
Hmm.
it was based on this comic book, like this graphic novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could be something from it. I don't know, but I liked it. I just liked the concepts. Like everything was down to earth.
Hmm.
Like you got the van. He's doing his stuff in the van. Like everything was realistic. What was capable from a man? Because I as much as I love John Wick, John Wick would die like 100 times in this movie. Like it's not physically possible.
Like, bring it back to life. You know what? The
Bro,
guy,
yeah.
he was very patient with what he was doing. He was into
Mhm.
yoga. He had a really dope spread in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
Yeah, that
When
house was fire, man.
when I saw that, I was like, oh, because we used to go to I used to go to the
Mhm,
Dominican every year, every summer,
mhm.
and then I just stopped and I'm just like, the DR is just fabulous. And I was like, this looks like Santo Domingo. So it was shot on
Yeah.
location for sure. What do you think this movie could have cost?
I think it was 170 million, something like
Hundred and
that.
oh, wait a minute. $175 million?
Yeah, yeah. No, because the other thing too is that David Fincher has a deal with Netflix for 4 movies, and I
Oh,
think he's made 2. This is the 2nd
mhm,
movie.
okay.
So, that could be part of the deal. I'm not sure exactly how it was because, like, visually, it looked good, like, it looked like a feature film,
Mhm.
something you see in the theater, but it didn't seem like they blew the budget out because they didn't have, like, crazy explosions with the half of a building
No,
coming down,
no,
and he
no.
wasn't jumping out of helicopters, like, 'cause
Right.
everything's just basic.
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
regular, straightforward. And I like the realism. Like that's one of my favorite things about the movie was the realism. Because it wasn't I'm used to watching Fast and Furious movies where they're driving a car up a building. Like, come on, like, this is ridiculous.
Dude, get it out of third. Like really?
Yeah, exactly,
We're in third
exactly.
gear
I'm used
going
to
up a
that
building.
silliness.
Stop it. You know.
So when you see a movie that's just trying to be exactly how this would be, especially that like how he went to the secretary's house and everything's on a Rolodex. Like that's reality. That's what it'd be like. He wouldn't have this elaborate thing of like a network of people, phone
Mhm.
operators. All it would be straightforward. Here's
Yeah.
your card. Go finish this dude off and get your $100 million, whatever it is. Like he'll say, like it's realistic.
Yeah.
The ideas are there.
You want to give
Else
a brief overview of what this movie was about because it's so brief, you know?
Yeah. So the interesting take about this movie. So basically, what it is that there's a hitman. He has a botched job, and there's rules in this world for being a hitman. If you mess up your thing, the client can ask to have you dealt with, or just
Mhm.
leave it be.
Mhm.
And this particular client that he was working for was like, "Nah, deal with it.
Yeah.
$150, clear that thing." So the the hitman organization sent two people to his house to get him, and ended up beating up his girlfriend instead
Yeah.
as payback. They beat it. It was rough. That was rough. But
Yeah.
so he decides to go on a vengeance tour. And that's
Mhm.
the movie right there.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot, man. This is great.
For the movie to really, I mean, you were saying like an assassin, a hitman
Mhm.
organization, right? It seemed like that there were only four people here, right? And then a client, right? He killed
Yeah,
four
yeah.
people and then you have the client, right? He didn't kill the client though. So that makes me think that even though he approached the client, that makes me think that there is a sequel coming up. But
I hope so.
yeah, I hope so too. So he actually he killed five people. He could not in this business
Mhm,
of being a hitman, of being an assassin, right? You
mhm.
cannot leave any stone unturned. So, for instance, I'll give you an
Nope.
example. When he
Mhm.
found out like who the taxi driver was, right? The taxi
Yeah.
driver gave him all the information. Like, dude, just here's all the
He need to
information.
kill him.
Yeah, he didn't need to kill him. He
Yeah.
was like, dude, okay, thank you for the information. You gotta you have to destroy every single piece of
Mhm,
evidence that could point to you. And that's exactly what he did. So that was the
mhm.
first person he killed, right? Just driving throughout Santo Domingo, the beautiful beaches, the
Yeah, that place
crazy
was fire.
decor and everything else. And that's why,
Yeah.
when I saw this budget, 175 million, I'm just like, first of all, nothing's costing $175 million dollars in the Dominican Republic. Forget about it.
Yeah, 'cause they had that one chase scene in Paris, but
Hmm.
I don't the bulk of the film was in cheap places, like, the Florida area was cheap, the
Yeah. Hmm.
Louisiana area is cheap.
Yep.
There I don't know if that because it's an estimate, we don't know what the exact figure is and
Yeah.
why they
Hmm.
divvied up the money like that, but, like, it the way they filmed it, it looked good, like, it's one of the high-end looking movies. And,
Yeah.
Fincher does, like, 100 takes on stuff, and
Yeah.
he takes his time.
This
So,
is, it's
yeah.
again, we haven't been watching there hasn't been a lot of new stuff out, right?
Mhm.
And so we have this here, and you were like, hey, the killer's coming on. I was like, okay, cool, let's check it out. I'm down to watch new stuff, right? Because we haven't had any new
Ye
stuff with the writer strike and everything else, right? And so
yeah.
now the new stuff is starting to be released. And I'm like, this film was a sleeper for me because, again, like I said, I was just like, okay, I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks pretty good. I like
Mhm.
Michael Fassbender. He's pretty good. I like him in some other stuff he did. I like the actor. It's one thing to say, hey, you know what? Let's just give this person because they're available a bag, and they don't
Mhm.
like really hit it. He kind of hit the role, so I kind of
Okay.
like how it worked for him.
Well, I'm saying, like, he looks like he could do the job, like, he looks like he's the atypical sociopath or whatever that he what I'm saying? Like, there's movies you watch, like, if you see Tom Cruise in the movie, you're like, "Yeah, that guy knows how to use a gun."
Mhm.
He drives a motorcycle, I can see that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, there's certain actors, and Fassbender is very good on these kind of drama stuff,
Mhm,
where he's got to reduce range of acting. Like one of my favorite movies from him is *Inglorious Bastards*. Like he was phenomenal in that movie,
mhm. Yeah,
and
he was pretty good
like
in that.
he's that kind of actor that when you see him do something, he's believable.
Mhm.
It's doesn't seem like what I'm saying. Like there's certain actors that you see them in the movie, you're like, ah, come on, man, like you're not doing that. No one believes you. But like he takes you out of whatever you're watching and just puts you into the thing, and you don't even notice it. So let me ask you this:
What's up?
there's in the beginning of the movie where when the movie starts and he starts doing his payback tour,
Mhm.
you could totally see him change his attitude towards what he was doing. Because the first guy was the car when he was
Taxi
getting the
driver.
information.
Mhm, mhm.
He's like bang done,
Yeah,
and then he got to the lawyer and
the
the
lawyer.
secretary,
Mhm.
and he was like, you know what? You're gonna take an L, lawyer. You're gonna take an L. You know what? I'm gonna have some mercy for the secretary, and just slowly starts working his way back to kind of turn himself to more human. What'd you think about that? Like, his range of, I guess, the story arc of where he is mentally, until where he's becoming more peaceful at the end. Like, what'd you think about that whole concept?
I like it, but okay. So with the lawyer, first of all, the way he killed him was crazy.
That was messed up.
I mean, he was just like,
That
dude, you're
was
gonna
messed up,
suffocate on your own blood. He like plugged him with
bro.
like
That was
three
messed up.
nails with from a nail gun, long nails too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you went right
So
through.
like wow,
Ugh.
and it's just like, but he also sort of knew that all the information that the guy thought the lawyer said he had was on the computers. Like, no, 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 no.
Mhm.
Come on, you got some analog stuff here, and
Yeah,
this is
it's
what they
BS,
had,
man. It's BS.
So I do like the arc of how he sort of went up and then he went down and he had compassion.
Mhm.
However,
Mhm.
before he got to the client, he had to get rid of everyone, regardless of the compassion he may have had. The secretary,
Yeah.
oh, I have 2 kids. Man, he like, woohoo, like her neck, just like wham, just
He was
like,
like,
I
"Stop."
want all the information you're going to give me. I'm going to seem
Mhm.
very calm, like I'm going to let you go. But then
Mhm.
he had to get rid of her. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, he just
dude, you're
dropped
an
her down the stairs,
assassin.
like
You're a hitman.
Yeah,
If you look
yeah.
at all hit, all movies with this sort of like storyline, hitmen and assassins, you have to get
Mhm.
rid of everyone. You have no compassion. It's a job, right? So I do
Yeah.
like it because he went up and then he went not all the way down, but he needed information, so he had to come down a little bit. But then
Yeah, yeah.
he only came down a little bit for the secretary and also,
Mhm. Is it
Tilda.
Tilda
Yeah.
Swinton?
Mhm. Yeah.
Whatever her name
So
is, I forgot her name.
he like
Mhm.
just woohoo, right? And
Mhm.
then he got you know what? How did he get so after the secretary, it was the guy from
He went to
Florida.
Florida. Yeah,
Okay.
went to Florida,
Wait, he
and he dealt with
oh
that guy.
he went to New Orleans to kill the lawyer. Okay, cool.
Yeah, the
And then
lawyer
he
and the
went to
secretary of New
right.
Orleans, they went to Florida.
Okay, now he goes to Florida to kill the Latin
Mhm.
guy or whoever he was,
And then he went to
living.
New York is the what they call her? I forgot what they called her.
She was the
Is the
no,
leak or something like that?
was
The
she
expert, the
she
expert.
was the expert, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes to so yeah, he and the other thing when he was fighting the guy in Florida, um
Mm.
the fight
That
was
was
it
a
was so
rough
real.
fight.
It was so real,
That
dude.
was a that
You
was a
know.
rough fight. I
Oh,
was sitting there like, "Oh, okay. All right. This is what's happening right now."
oh
That
boy
was a
kicked
rough
him.
fight.
Oh boy kicked him where something stabbed him in his groin, in his penis and everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's over. It's
Dude,
done.
the bottle, the broken leg from the table, like
Hmm.
it was a rough fight.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about violence, that was a rough fight. And you can't do justice explaining it until you watch it, because like it was as realistic as possible. Because normally when you watch these movies, like you're doing a fight like that, and like the good guy or the person who's the antagonist, he's got the leg up, he's blocking everything. He
Yeah.
took some hits in this movie. The killer, he took some L's when he fought that guy. He took a lot of L's because first of all, he wasn't ready for him. He
Yeah.
the bodybuilder, whatever, he jumped him. He wasn't even ready. He didn't know
Yeah.
that was coming.
You
And
know.
Yeah, he threw him on the table.
Mhm.
I think he hurt his back. Like he did a bunch of stuff.
I mean, he beat
I
him
don't.
down.
If it came down to another fight, I think he would have lost the
Yeah.
next fight.
You know, when this fight was happening, I was thinking, I was like, oh, he's just a person who pulls a trigger. He's really not a fighter because he was getting
Nope.
beat down so much, and I was just like, is this guy, does he get
Hmm.
trained to fight people just in case something pops off? But he kills the
Mm.
guy in a very brutal way. Well, not
Brutal.
really. I mean, he just like boom, like through the door, kills him, and then his dog
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
running after him. So after
Mhm.
the bodybuilder, he goes to New York to check out the
Yeah.
expert, right?
Mm.
So I'm looking at her and I'm like, again, I don't know about this industry. I have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
idea about this industry. But I'm like, wow, she's a hitman or a hit woman. She's an assassin.
Well, I think because she's the expert, right? So I think she's got intel, or she's the one telling the other guy what to do.
Right, okay.
Because she did say that, like she was saying, like, "Hey, all right, just to rough up the chick, and then we'll just get on our way." And
Right.
he didn't listen to her anyway. So
Hmm.
I think that she's like the person in charge because
Yeah.
she seems very high up.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
for
was she
sure.
driving a
Hmm.
Cadillac? She seems relatively
She had a driver, put
higher
it
up.
that way. She had a driver. Or
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
she
And then
didn't
she was
have
in
a
the
no,
restaurant.
no, she didn't have a driver, but she was driving a
No,
really
she
nice
drove
car,
herself,
Cadillac.
but I'm saying
Yeah,
she was in the restaurant,
yeah.
and they're catering to her at
People
the
knew her.
restaurant.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm saying she's well up in whatever this organization is.
Mhm.
She wasn't at the bottom, like the bodybuilder guy. He's at the bottom. Like
Yeah.
he's not doing anything. But like
So
she seems higher up.
so she knew that as soon as she saw him that, she's gonna
Yeah,
get
it was a
killed,
wrap.
right? It was a
It
wrap,
was a
right?
wrap.
So, he's like, okay, let's go. Time for you to get killed, right? And so they're
Mhm.
walking through this maze or whatever, and then she slips, right? And she's like,
That
oh,
was
aren't you
crazy.
gonna help a woman up? As soon as she said that, he knew as an assassin,
Mhm.
right?
He's just like, "Pop, I'm
He was
done.
like, no, no,
I'm
no,
done
no,
with
no.
this."
I can help you up. Then you like stab me. He shoots her. She falls down. What does she have in her
With a
hand? A
knife in the
knife,
hand.
you know?
A knife in the
And I
hand.
was
She was
like,
ready to cut
wow,
up for me.
this guy is really amazing. So he's
Mhm.
done with her. Now he knows who's the client.
Yeah.
So the way that he infiltrates the client's residence, right? First of all,
Mhm.
dude, he's buying something off of Amazon.
Mhm.
Did
Yeah.
you see that? He
Yeah,
bought a
that that was
he
interesting
bought a
too.
key, like some sort of a key fob or something from Amazon. I was just like, really? Okay, this is how patient he was. He
Mhm.
knew that ordering this thing from Amazon would take two would take 2 days, right? You know, if
Yeah,
you're lucky
yeah.
with Amazon, 2 days. And he had it sent
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
an Amazon locker, right? He got a free trial at the very exclusive gym. I know gyms like that.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and then he just got into this guy's resident. Now, the interesting thing about this here is this guy who's super rich, whatever, yada yada yada. Where's his
Mhm.
bodyguards? Where's his like where are these
Well,
people?
but here's the thing, like, I think there's a certain level of rich where you kinda don't need it. Like, he's in his building.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that he needs the person in his residency too.
Hmm.
I think that it's more of a
Excuse
because
me.
he had the guy, there's the driver guy.
Yeah, he had the
He
driver.
had him
Hmm.
when he leaves the house.
Yeah.
But like he said, like I got security. Like what do I? This is supposed to be top notch to get in this building, and this guy just walked right in. Like he's upset about that. So
Yeah.
you could clearly tell there's a difference between getting in the building and what he's doing like outside because he
Hmm.
does have this driver, and he said he doesn't think he's Mossad or whatever. But like it is fascinating that when you're that rich, you separate yourself from the real mortals of how you're living your life because he
Yeah.
had that. There's the trainer guy with him.
Yeah.
That guy looks like a bodyguard
He
too.
was a straight diesel. I was like, this guy
He's
eats a lot of
yeah.
oatmeal for real. You know, the guy, so, when they finally locked eyes, I was
Mhm.
thinking, I was like, wow, if it ends like this, it's kind of corny, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
it ends like this,
I I like that he let him live, to be
I,
honest,
I love that,
because
you know?
you're not expecting. You think he's just gonna kill everybody and go on about his day, but like that's what I'm saying. Like you could tell that his story arc is changing, especially from the secretary on. Like he's like, obviously you gotta get rid of the bodybuilder guy.
Yeah.
and the expert chick because they
And
were
the
there.
lawyer,
They were, yeah, and
everyone.
the lawyer. They directly harmed his girlfriend,
Right,
so
exactly.
that made sense. This guy, the way he was talking, is more like an accident. He didn't
Mhm.
really know what he was getting into.
Right.
He said it's the first time he used the service, and he said they're gonna clean it up, but he didn't know what they meant
He
clean
said
it
the
up.
first time I used the service, he's like, man, I saw an 800 number and a classified ad in the New York Post, and
Yeah,
I
this
just called up.
is
I didn't know what was going on here. you know,
yeah. The way he was talking, like you could say, because Fassbender says it in the movie. He says like the way he answers these questions is gonna tell me what's gonna happen to him,
yeah.
and it seems like he was oblivious, and is like because he was like I don't mean no harm. We were cool, like
hmm
we're good, like. But you can tell like he wasn't lying. Well, I guess from his character's perspective, he thinks he wasn't lying. But he did make it clear that hey, if you got a problem, I'm gonna come back here.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
the billionaire having no clue how this industry works. He's like, wait a minute. How'd you
Mhm.
get in here? So first of all, the guy knows where you live. He's that smart. He's in this industry. He
Yeah,
knows how to
yeah.
touch you. So for him to let him go, again, I just think that there is going to
Mhm.
be a sequence. I also think that you can probably do an additional 2 to 3 more movies with this. It's almost like Extraction. You can keep going with this if you
Yeah,
wanted
you
to.
can keep going. I hope
Yeah.
I hope they make
I
another
hope
one,
so
to be
too,
honest,
man. I
like
hope so too. So this was
mhm.
a sleeper. This was a really good film, man. So
It was a
we
great
are
film.
talking about The Killer on Netflix. This is brand new. What are you gonna rate this film?
Mhm. I give it an 8.5. I was
hmm
thoroughly engrossed. The action was realistic and interesting. Just like when you're following the whole process of what happened in the movie, like we find out his girlfriend in the house or whatever, like everything was like, I want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a good movie where I care what happens next and I'm not disappointed when I get it. 'Cause, a lot of movies they have the next thing that happens, you're like, ah, this is dumb. Or this is the end how it's supposed to end. But like everything, like the interview with the Tilda Sweet when she's drinking her what was she drinking?
Whiskey,
Uh whiskey.
a very nice
Yeah, the
whiskey.
good stuff.
The good
But, like, her
stuff.
whole
Top
conversation, he's
shelf.
just staring at her. That
Yeah.
was great.
hmm
He didn't have to do anything. That whole thing, when we was
Yep.
talking about the bear, like,
hmm
the whole conversation was interesting. And, like, that's the dynamic of a good script and a good director. Like, they made everything very interesting, and you care about it, you wanna see more. So, like, I enjoyed this movie. 8.5 for me, easily.
Yeah. I am going to give it also an 8.5. I think what's
Mhm.
interesting, one of the things that's interesting to me with this film was he spoke, you saw him speak in this film probably
Mhm.
50% of the time, but then you heard his voice the other 50% of the time. He was narrating his
Yeah.
own like what he was going to do. So I was just like, wow, this is kind of fascinating because in the beginning of the
Mhm.
film, he didn't say one word for about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's no dialogue. It's just
Yeah,
him doing
that's
his
it, dude,
monologue
right?
or
So
internal monologue.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is kind of heavy, it's kind of thick. I was like, this is pretty good. And even though the
Mhm.
film was almost 2 hours, the pacing of how everything went down,
Pacing was great. It
phenomenal.
was great. Yeah.
8.5 for me, 8.5 for Keo. The Killer on
Mhm.
Netflix. Go check it out. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.